Hey guys, Nate from Richard's Guitar Studio, and today we're going to go over the song Buddy Holly by Weezer. And I have the tabs all linked up to the video, so open that up. I have all the parts labeled, and we can go through it together. So the first part, part A, is the verse, and we start off on a power chord on F sharp, 2nd fret, and it sounds like this. That's the verse. I did forget to mention the song is tuned a half step down, so if you play with the recording, you're going to want to do that, tune everything to the flat, but I'm in standard tuning for the lesson. So real quick, the chords there, we have your 1st, 3rd, and 4th finger on power chords, on the 2nd and 5th fret, and there's one connecting chord. It's an E over G sharp chord, and it's the 4th fret and the 7th fret. Normally I would use my pinky, but I use my 3rd finger here to connect the two chords. So it's 4th and 7th, just a nice stretch there, and then your 3rd finger stays where it is, it anchors itself, and then your 1st finger slides up to make that power chord. So the 3 chords are F sharp, E over G sharp here, and then this is an A5 chord. Alright, so you might want to practice that movement to get used to that before you try to play it up to speed. Alright, part B is the pre-chorus. So I'm going to play the rhythm guitar part for that right now. And it sounds like this. Alright, so that's the rhythm guitar part. So you have a power chord here on D, D5. Slide that down to C sharp, and you're going to add your 2nd finger on the B string, 5th fret, to make it a C sharp minor chord. Really follow through with the pick so you can hear that note. And then you have only 3 of those, and then jump to F sharp for a tie, for a longer note. And then you pick it up there with 3 more F sharps. So it sounds like this. C sharp minor. Alright, it basically does that twice. The last 2 measures, it's a D5. And then you add the 2nd finger again to that and make it a D minor. Really follow through again so you can hear that F on the B string. Alright, there's a lead part for that, and it starts on the 7th fret with your 3rd finger. You're going to play the note with the volume knob down and then swell in with the volume knob. Like that. So just use the bottom of your finger there to do that. Oh. And then you move on. So you can let all that ring together, and the one weird spot is where it plays, well, you have the 7 and 5, and then this measure where it goes 5, 4, 5, and then to the 2nd fret, you kind of have to bar that in advance. So, like that, so you're prepared for that note on the 2nd string. 5, 4, 5, 2, 2. And then the last, well, let's go through that again. So it's, and it just does that twice. Alright, and then the last 2 measures, you have 7 and then 6. Alright, so that's part B. If you prefer to play the lead fill for that section. So section C is the chorus, and that sounds like this. last chord that I played before or after the second chorus, you're going to leave that note out. You're just going to stop early. And then it goes to that next part, which we'll get to. That's section E. So, so real quick, you have an A5 power chord. Next measure, your first finger stays where it is and it lays over. So instead of moving your whole hand to the next string, you're going to lay it over and you play a 4-string power chord. 5th fret, 5th fret, 7th fret, 7th fret. And that's called a D over A, and then it goes to an E over B. Your first finger never leaves that low E string, it just bars over to make that that next chord in the second measure of that section. It basically just does that twice. That's the first line, and then the second line of section C goes to the 2nd fret power chord, F sharp. Then it goes up to the 5th fret, and you're going to leave your first finger down, bar it, take the 3rd finger away, and leave the pinky where it was. So you have 1, 3, and 4. You slide up, you leave 1 and 4 where it is, and you lift 3. And that gives you a D over A power chord. And then you do the same thing up on the 7th and 9th fret. So that sounds like this. And then your first finger and your pinky are still where they are, and you put your 3rd finger back in the second measure there, and you get 5, 7, 7. So you have this, slide up, leave your first and your pinky where they are, lift the 3rd finger, slide up again with that same chord, you slide back to the 5th fret and add the 3rd finger back to make that A5 power chord again. Alright, so those 2 measures there, the second line of section C sounds like this. Alright, then moving on, you have another one of these bar chords. And then this last part is a little tricky with the picking. So you have down, 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 lift the first finger, and then hit the first 2 strings on a down up. Then you add the first finger back down and do another down up. Down, down, down. So you got down, 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 down. Alright, so that's that part. The section D is a short solo in between the first chorus and the second verse. It sounds like this. There is some ringing in there, like from here. Alright, I think I'm hearing some of that in there, so if you end up holding 2 strings together, that's fine for that short solo. Section E is the bridge part, and that sounds like this. Alright, so you have an A5 chord with your first finger, open E, F sharp. Now the harmonics here are between the 2nd and 3rd frets. Really within that area, the end of the the end of the 2nd fret here, or before the 2nd fret wire, and then before the 3rd fret wire. So anywhere in that area where you're going to get a bunch of noise, harmonic noise, that's what you want. Real light on it with your fingers. Don't press too hard on it. You just want to make some high-pitched sounds there. So, alright, I'm in between right now. I'm in between the 2nd and 3rd fret wire, between those wires. So, then you have 1 and 3 on an F sharp power chord. Your 4th finger on this note. So you have open and 4th fret. add your first finger, and you're just going to slide that up, slide it back down, leave your pinky on, play the open string again. Sorry, open A. So let me do that again. Pinky, add your first finger, up, back, open, second. Alright, that's the best economy of movement there. Third finger, fourth finger, 1 and 4, 1 and 4, 1 and 4. Alright, so that's section E. We're going to skip the solo real fast. We'll go back to that. I always like to try to get the whole song down before we do the solo. Section G is the very end of the song, and it's basically just repeating the end of the chorus over and over again until you basically just stop short there at the end. So it sounds like this. Is the very end. Alright. There is another guitar with this where you're playing an octave on the 7th and 10th fret, and your first finger, the pad of the first finger, is gonna dampen the G. So you shouldn't hear anything on that G, just the D string and the A. Or sorry, the B string. This is an A note on the B string. And that part sounds like this. That same picking as the rhythm guitar part, the down up on the 16th notes. Okay, so that brings you to the end of the song, and you'll hear that when you listen to the song. You'll hear that ending kind of just keeps repeating over and over again, and you finally get those last couple chords. So the fills, this is a keyboard part over the verse, and it sounds like this. Over the first verse, so it's like so you could try to throw that in there. There's another one where you can tap it. You hold the 9th fret, put your second finger on top of the 16th fret, and then you pluck to make that 9th fret sound, and tap twice on the 16th. Oh, sorry. If I got it the right rhythm there, but okay. And then the last fill is at the end of the solo. You're gonna keep playing on this D5 chord over A. So the chorus is over this part, section B, like that. And then when you get to the end, you do that twice, and you get to the end of the solo, you just keep hitting that chord over and over again for 3 measures. And then you stop, and that's in the solo. You'll see this part where the whole band stops, and you hear that thing. So let's real quick over the solo. So the solo comes right at the end of section E. So you have, and then on the last 2 8th notes, instead of playing, you could play. Alright, that's the first 2 notes of that solo. So you have. So let's take a look at the solo. So you have a full step bend, tune that 2 frets higher, just play 2 frets higher. That's the note you want to hear. You have a little slide there. Alright, then you have more octaves here. On the 11th and 14th fret. A little bit out of tune, sorry. And your first finger is going to dampen the B string. Alright, so it sounds like this. Now that little part you have down, down, and I kind of just put my hand on the strings and hit the strings with my pick, and then an up, down. Then you have a hammer on, you have a little pentatonic scale thing going on here, so alright, so there's the first 2 little phrases of that part. Alright. And then the last part, you have this longer pentatonic thing. And then a trill. Alright, so I go down, up, down, hammer, down, up, down, hammer, down, up, down. Down, up, down, hammer, down, up, down. And then the last part. Oh, sorry. That's a bend, release, pull off. So you bend a whole step. And then you release and pull off. Now, if you're getting strings ringing in the background when you do the bend release, like that, you got to cover it with your right hand. Like I do it back near my palm and my wrist. You cover the strings as you're playing the high E string, so none of those. You don't make any noise when you release the bend. Alright, so here's the whole solo slowly. So that's a really fun solo to learn, and that is it. That takes us to the end of Buddy Holly. So any questions, Richards at richardsguitarstudio.com. And then I would recommend you try to learn all the rhythm stuff first. Don't do the solo yet. Tune your guitar half step down and learn how to play the whole song with the track all the way through, and then do the solo. Alright, have fun with that one.